Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome back to another Power Rangers Legacy review. Today we're taking a look at the Power Rangers Legacy movie series, which is exclusive to ToysRUs, retails for $19.99 a figure, and includes parts to build a Megazord. So without further ado, let's begin. So here we have the Red Ranger. Now the Red Ranger comes with the right arm of the Megazord, which is super cool. And you can see the packaging here is the same packaging style that the regular Legacy series have. They did swap out to put the Power Rangers movie logo down here, but it still has the same Power Rangers logo, the Build a Megazord part, the limited edition tag. It does have the addition of the only at ToysRUs, due to the line being ToysRUs exclusive, Legacy Collection Red Ranger. Of course, Red Ranger there with red lightning throughout. On the back here you can see the breakdown of figures, collect the team and build the Megazord. So pink has the wings, Alpha has the torso, red has the right arm, yellow has the left arm, blue has the right leg, and then black has the left leg. And then here's the 6 figures as well as the collect them all type of scenario. So I do like how the packaging is consistent. It is fantastic packaging design, if I do say so myself. I think that it's great. Also the top does say Power Rangers, so easy to look for on the shelf. And taking a look at the Red Ranger himself, let's get his one accessory out of the way. This figure is really good. I'm actually surprised at how good these turned out. Let's get that out of the way. Now, for those wondering, yes, they aren't very different looking than the basic figures in a lot of ways, unless you look at them side by side, which is what I did. You're mostly getting these for the scale. Well, this is the Legacy scale, so this is the 6.5-inch size as opposed to the 5-inch. And it is very nicely painted, and a lot of details you don't notice were missing from the 5-inch figures. A lot of this like blue running throughout here, paint on the morpher. This does look fantastic. I think the look was nailed really well, and I do love the paint applications, especially in the back. Really gives it a nice high quality premium feel. Now, one of the biggest complaints people have had about these is the lack of bicep swivels on the male Rangers for the movie. It was said in a video recently that the Bandai designers did this because of the design of the shoulder area. They didn't want to cut into that just to have a bicep swivel. So it was partly due to the design of the suit. But I love the helmet here. Looks pretty good. Articulation-wise, you got the left and right swivel, the up and down neck joint as well. You got ratcheted shoulders. Like I said, no bicep swivel, but you do get double jointed elbow and the full wrist articulation. You got the other line. You got an ab crunch joint. It works forward and back. As you can see, the paint applications have been applied here, as well as a waist swivel, hip joints, thigh swivel, double jointed knees as well, and an ankle pivot that goes forward and back and left and right. So, really cool. Of course, he does come with one accessory, which is the Power Sword. The Power Sword is a nice design for Bandai because it only needs one paint app, which is a little red spot here. It materializes from his arm in the movie, so I think this looks good. And he can pull it off, even without bicep swivels. You get him in the right kind of pose, and he is good to go. Like, there you go. There's the Red Ranger with the Power Sword. Now, that being said, this guy does have some cool little factors to him. I think he looks pretty good overall. Poses don't look too wonky. The added articulation does add to the figure. And I like these Legacy figures more than I do the basic 5-inch line, so I'm glad to see some current stuff also being made into Legacy as well. Alright, here we have the Black Ranger. Now Black Ranger, packaging very similar. I do like the black lightning bolts throughout, which is really cool. And he does come with the right leg for the Megazord, which is super awesome. Taking a look at the Black Ranger, he has the same articulation system as the Red Rangers. We're most looking at surface detail here, namely the head sculpt. I think this is my favorite of the movie suits by far. He just looks fantastic. Again, articulation's the same, but I love the silver on black. I think this is a very sleek look that works really well. I just love on all of them, I really love the blue detail in the chest. I think that's it's a fantastic little detail. But yeah, there's not much else to say about him. He doesn't include any weapons, no weird flaming punch effects that the 5-inch version came with. He's just a straight figure with a Build-A-Figure part, which is a little underwhelming. It would have been nice if all of them had come with power swords maybe, But maybe that's movie accurate. Maybe these guys never use any weapons, so the legacy version is staying accurate to the film. Who's to say? We'll have to see. But overall, I think Black Ranger is my favorite of the wave. Here we have the Blue Ranger. Packaging looks very nice with the blue lightning bolts. And I do love the silhouette image of the Ranger. It's great. He does come with the other leg for the Megazord, which is awesome. Here he is. Again, same thing. Same articulation as the others, but surface detail looks nice. I think the silver and blue also looks good together. Two of my favorite colors, personally. I like his helmet design. I think it's really neat overall. There's not much else to say. When they have the same articulation, they don't have unique weapons or anything like that. They're just kind of there. And the thing is, you're getting it to complete the Megazord, and you're getting it to complete the team, or you may just love, Billy the Blue Ranger in the movie, and you just want his figure and nobody else, which is a perfectly logical choice. Just getting to do the Rangers. So yeah, there we go. All right, here we have Yellow Ranger. Now, as you can see, packaging very similar to everything else we've gotten, which is good. We get the other arm of the Megazord, and here she is. Now, using the female version of these molds has some inaccuracies due to concept designs changing from the concept to the final film, but overall, it does look good here. Really nice paint applications. And yes, the females do have bicep swivels where the male Rangers don't, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, the feet are completely different than how they are in the film, but oh well. Now, I do have a problem with this figure, and it's called loose joint syndrome. I don't know why on her specifically. Like every other figure, joints are pretty tight across the board. But Yellow Ranger, she is just kind of really loose. Like, this should not kind of happen loose. I don't know what happened with her. Bandai joints have been so solid lately, and yet here she is, and she is pretty loose, which is not good. Articulation-wise, head up and down, left and right. Shoulders are ratcheted. That's the one non-loose joint. Bicep swivels, elbows, full jointed wrists. As we previously established, loose joint. Waist joint, hips, thigh swivel. Double joint knee, which has got such an impressive range of movement. I'm just shocked. And then the ankles, which pivot forward and back, and they turn left and right, sort of. So she actually can get some good poses if you just got to balance her out. Problem with that with her is you get a good pose, and then she just collapses under her own weight because her joints aren't solid, which is just kind of a problem, especially with the tiny feet. I'm kind of glad they don't have the female Rangers don't have the high heel type like pump boot look that that they do in the movie, because I feel like that may have made figure stability even worse. But yeah, it doesn't help that all of her joints are just so loose. She's like a rag doll. It's very hard to get her standing, just at all, which is very disappointing. And here we have the Pink Ranger, which, as you can see, packaging, Pink Ranger, very nice. She comes with the wings of the Megazord, really cool. And here she is. Now, she has some similar issues to Yellow in that she does have some loose joints. It's not as bad. Like, this is pretty solid in comparison. And her hips don't give out, and her knees don't give out as much. This knee's a little loose, and this foot is really solid, but this one's not. Well, the feet are solid, but the knees are loose. I don't know what happened. It could be a design thing, it could be a quality control thing, but yeah, the female Rangers just have trouble with loose joints for this wave, and I don't know why that is. It really bugs me that they do have issues, because like to get her to stand properly, she looks kind of weird. It's very problematic. Now, the last figure in the wave was a nice surprise. It was Alpha 5, who we had no idea was coming. He just existed when somebody found him. Torso for the Megazord is included, so he finishes that off. And the packaging, it does have a nice little green color and some like cyan type lightning, and it does have the Red Ranger. They said that basically any figures that weren't the individual Rangers are just going to get the Red Ranger on the packaging, which is fine. Would have been nice to see an Alpha head, but at the same time, kind of just works with a generic style packaging. But Alpha here is a pretty unique mold. He's not molded against anybody else, but he's pretty cool. His neck's ball jointed, and it does rotate at the base here. So it does rotate at the base, and it's ball jointed. Shoulders, elbows, ball jointed wrists, which are just pop off sometimes. But those are just fantastic. He's got hip movement, knees, and ankles. He doesn't look a whole lot different than the basic 5-inch Alpha. He's just basically a bigger one of that with a few extra joints, and comes with the Megazord part. But overall, I think it's just really cool we got Alpha. I'd still like to see like a 3-pack of Rita, Goldar, and the Putty. That would be a neat little like extra set to add to this. But hey, the Alpha here is the first non-Ranger Legacy figure of the main figures. So really cool overall. Now that we've gone through the entire wave, let's build the Megazord. Now the Megazord's pretty cool. Having the transforming combinable version leads me to want a more accurate figure of the Megazord, and this is definitely going to cover it. Much like the interactive Megazord, the non-combining one looks better across the board, and this is the only like basic action figure of this Megazord design, and it is a cool one. Of all the toys released for the Megazord, this is by far, I think, the best. The combining one, as we've established, isn't too accurate to the film, and the interactive one is still missing a lot of paint in a lot of areas to make it look really good. I think this is pretty much solid. The paintwork on this is fantastic. I think the lack of weapons was to make the paint really good on these parts for the Megazord. I think they're fantastic. Love the chest detail across the legs too. The molded in details are great. Now it does not have the articulation that the regular Legacy Megazords do, as it doesn't have as many ball joints. But he does have still pretty good joints. He's got his neck that moves, ball joint shoulders, elbow bend, ball joint hips, knee bend, and a ankle that moves left and right for stability. So you actually can get some pretty cool poses out of this guy. I do like the wings on the back. Kind of strange they were a separate part, but you know, whatever works out. I think this is a cool figure. It's honestly one of the things that drove me to get the Legacy 6-inch over the 5-inch, and I think it's just really cool. It'd be nice to see a basic 5-inch Megazord figure as well, but I gotta say that I think this is probably one of the biggest selling points of the wave, and it's turned out really good. I really enjoyed this Megazord figure. Overall, the Legacy movie wave is definitely not for everybody. Most people are going to be wanting to just pick up the basic 5-inch figures, which is perfectly fine. I think that for those of us that are collecting Legacy heavily, like how I'm collecting every Legacy Power Rangers figure, I wanted these to go with my Legacy stuff so that I had the new scale, the updated design, the Megazord as well, to go with the Megazord display. So I'm really liking these figures for that. And yeah, they aren't for everybody, which is also why I think they're ToysRUs exclusive. They could have easily made these general retail, but I think that, you know, they get the Legacy main line to be general retail, and this is ToysRUs exclusive for those that want the movie figures. So these just start hitting stores, so keep an eye out if you're on the hunt for these Legacy figures. I definitely do recommend them. If you are a fan of the 6.5-inch scale and you want movies figures to go with that, or if you just want to keep your Legacy collection TV only, then it's an easy skip. That Megazord figure is pretty cool though, so if you are looking for a good Megazord figure, this is the best way to do it. Now I did pick up mine on a buy one get one 50% off all Power Rangers movie toys in store, which helped out the price a whole lot. But yeah, you are looking at $120 to get the Megazord and the whole set of figures, because you get to buy Alpha as well as the Rangers. So it is a little bit of an investment, but if you want it, go for it. If not, probably just stick with the basic figures. You can get the same 6 figures minus the Megazord in a smaller scale with less articulation and paint for $60, which is half the price. So overall, that is pretty much all I gotta say about the Legacy figures. Not too much else. I definitely am looking forward to the next wave of the Power Rangers Legacy line, which is going to be Zeo and Dino Thunder split wave. And there's also going to be a wave of metallic Mighty Morphin Rangers with weapons that I'm skipping because I don't really want to drop another $100 on Mighty Morphin Rangers. But stay tuned for more Legacy reviews here on Soundout 12. I think the next wave is actually the other half of In Space, and then the rest of Mighty Morphin. So Stay tuned for those. Subscribe for more Power Rangers and Sentai reviews here on Soundout 12. Until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.